Shavua Tov, welcome everybody to the Israel Brief. I am Rolene Marks and I'm delighted to be in your company. And as always, the Israel Brief is brought to you in partnership with our good friends and providers, Lay of the Land. So let's take a look at those top stories. It is day 346. We are just 19 days away from marking the 1-year anniversary of the 7th of October, which I think has been a seminal moment in Jewish history. It wasn't just the worst attack on Israeli soil since the inception of the modern state of Israel. Remember, Israel is millennia years old, but a modern state is 76 years old. It was also the worst attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. And of course, the result is a war with Hamas to rid not just Israel, not just the Palestinian people, but the region of the terror scourge that is Hamas. So as we do every Monday to Thursday, let's take a look at those headlines before we get to a fascinating question from Lutando in South Africa. And we begin with news that yesterday woke us up in the early morning with quite a start. Now, I live in Modi'in, as you know, it's the center of Israel, halfway between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. And yesterday morning at about, I would say, 6:30, 6:45, my app on my phone from the Homefront Command, this is the unit in the IDF responsible for ensuring that Israeli citizens are safe and that we know what to do in the event of war, of natural disasters, etc. Phenomenal unit within the IDF. Really the unsung heroes, also responsible for a lot of our search, rescue and recovery. So a salute to our Homefront Command, always making sure that we are prepared. Well, the app went berserk. Now, what it does is it lights up and your phone vibrates. And this is to ensure that people who may be blind or hard of hearing are aware that they need to get to a shelter. And then, of course, the sirens began, that air raid shelter sound, a really horrific sound. It cuts right through to your bones. And moments later, we heard, 3 booms and 1 almighty bang. And we knew that this was a rocket or a missile, but where from, we didn't know. Well, what we do know is that this ballistic missile fired from Yemen by Houthi rebel militia was fired towards the center of Israel. Now, they claimed that it was hypersonic. The Israel Air Force, who have conducted their concluding investigations, have found that the missile was not hypersonic. However, it was intercepted by our Arrow defense systems, and part of it landed just outside the nearby city of Lod. And a little bit of shrapnel fell through at the Pa'atei Modi'in train station. This is really about 10 minutes away from my home, fell onto the escalator. I am terrified to think what could have happened if somebody or people were on that escalator at the time. And we have investigators combing the eastern parts of Tel Aviv for any shrapnel or any parts of the rocket. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu has said that Israel will exact a heavy price for that, and said anyone who wants to attack Israel from Yemen need only look at Hodeidah port. If you recall that following the drone attack on Tel Aviv several weeks ago, Israel attacked the port of Hodeidah in Yemen in response and lit it up like a dragon from Game of Thrones doing to King's Landing. Game of Thrones fans will get that reference. But the Houthi rebel leader said that this is the 5th phase. It's a bit unclear what he means, what the fifth phase entails, and what his plans on. Says that there is more to come. Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad and Hezbollah congratulated the Houthis. Now, the Houthis are also an Iranian-backed terror group. I almost lost my train of thought for a second. The IDF have been embarking on counter-terror operations inside the West Bank for several weeks now, and new evidence uncovered something very alarming yesterday. IDF units uncovered an incomplete tunnel being built very close to a hospital in Tulkarem. Now, of course, this is very, very concerning. Many of us live very, very close to the West Bank and are vulnerable to tunnels, and we know very well from dealing with the tunnels in Gaza and, of course, Hezbollah tunnels into the north of Israel, how these tunnels are used. Well, this particular tunnel uncovered by the IDF has an entrance but no exit. And you can be sure that we will be keeping a very, very close eye on the West Bank to ensure that the tunnel metro system that has been built in the Gaza Strip is not replicated on our doorstep here in the West Bank either. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken and his UK counterpart, Foreign Secretary David Lammy, engaged in high-level discussions over the weekend. The two foreign secretaries released a statement soon after, speaking about their commitment to ensuring that mediation continues for the release of the hostages. There are still 101 hostages. We want them home now. I'm going to zoom in on that. We want them home now. They also spoke about their absolute assurance and support for Israel's safety and security, and that mediation needs to occur for a long-term ceasefire. They have stated that they will ensure that Israel remain secure and able to defend herself. Now, this is very interesting because about 2-3 weeks ago, David Lammy announced that they would be withholding the 30 out of 350 military licenses for Israeli military parts. And while this will not have any impact on Israel's ability to defend ourselves or the way that we are prosecuting the war inside the Gaza Strip, it does send a message to us that the United Kingdom, certainly under the Labour Party as an ally, might not be as strong as we thought it was. But now on to strong allies. And a viewer posed the question, I think it was last week, who asked me, has the Abraham Accords held throughout the last now nearly a year? Well, not only have we held, but yesterday marked 4 years since the signing of the historic agreements between the United States, Israel, Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates. And of course, we were joined soon after by Morocco and Sudan. Sudan is part of the Abrahamic Circle, even though they haven't formally signed a treaty. Israel's Foreign Minister Israel Katz, addressing the anniversary of the signing of the accord, said that these historic agreements have changed the region economically, politically, and socially, and that we look forward to increasing cooperation. Now, while there has been some tension from time to time, this past year has proven that the Abraham Accords certainly have legs. You know, many believe that one of the reasons why Hamas launched their attack on the 7th of October is because Israel was in very close discussions with the Saudis. You know, we want to widen that circle, that Abrahamic circle, that circle of peace, and the next likely candidates are Saudi. And just a warning to the Houthis, who are also waging war against the Saudis, that all you might be doing is pushing us closer. Right, now on to your favorite segment of the show. And remember, if you want to ask your question, please pop it in the comments section below or email it to us via our website. And today's question from Lutando in South Africa is, Hi, Rolene, can you explain the difference between a prime minister and president? I see Israel has both. What is the difference in roles? Lutando, my absolute pleasure to explain the difference. So let's take a look at the prime minister. The prime minister, or the sitting prime minister at the moment, is Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, how it works is that the prime minister is elected by the people. We don't elect the candidate, but what we do is we vote for parties. We have a multi-party system here. It is based on proportional representation, and what parties do is they submit their list of candidates to the Electoral Commission, and usually the winning party, whoever is number one on the list, is likely to be a prime minister. However, Israel being Israel, and because we're always complicated, the winning party still has to form a coalition, a governing coalition. Now, as has it been the case in the past, the winning party has been unable to form a coalition, and that goes to another party. And the government before this particular government was a coalition government that featured a revolving prime ministership between Naftali Bennett, who, by the way, has made his announcement to return to politics, and Yair Lapid. The president, on the other hand, is elected by the Knesset, and candidates are submitted to the Knesset, and the Knesset vote in the candidate they believe is best suited to be the president. Now, the president's role is ceremonial. He is the head of state, or she is the head of state, and they represent us on the international stage, like at the funeral for the late Queen Elizabeth, or the coronation of King Charles, or major conferences in Davos, etc., etc. And our sitting president is Isaac Herzog, along with his first lady, Michal Herzog, and he largely has been Israel's great unifying figure. He has been our comforter in chief these last 11 months. He is not a political figure, and we do salute his wife, the wonderful Michal, for her unwavering and her advocacy in ensuring that the crimes against humanity of sexual violence committed by Hamas against Israeli women, girls, and yes, some men as well, remains in the global consciousness. So, Lutando, I hope that answers your question. It's a fantastic question, and thank you for the opportunity to answer it for you. And that brings us to the end of your headlines, but don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. If you want to subscribe to our newsletter, please be in touch with us via our website. And even if you want to write for us, be in touch with us via our website. Our Facebook page is at Lottel's site. Our YouTube channel is right here at the Israel Brief. We are on Instagram at Rolene_Marks, on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks, on X at Lay of the Land 5, and if there are any I've left out, it's because we are not there. But I am here wishing you all a wonderful rest of your day. God bless you. Take care of yourselves and each other, and join me again for tomorrow's headlines right here from Modi'in in Israel. Bye for now.